All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Welcome to the Good Man Show. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that like button. And if you like this video, we want you to make sure that you tell somebody, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get notifications when we upload another show. Back again, we have Pastor Keith J. Allen in the house, and boy, have you stirred up some stuff, man. How you doing, Pastor?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man, it's been real, man. The last three, we did two, and I split them up, but it's getting a lot of feedback, man, and people are asking a lot of questions. And I did say on the last episode that we would probably take some calls on this one, but what I'm going to do, because this seems to be such an ongoing subject and something that is so universal and so relevant for the time, that what we're probably going to do is do a Zoom. I'm going to set up a Zoom and advertise it so that people who want to comment or have questions can call in. So I'll keep everybody abreast on that. But in the meantime, what I like to do is start off with, if you have anything you want to recap on from the last two episodes that we talked about.
Of course, I do. I think that it's important to remind everybody that the whole thing that even caused the subject itself is the ideal of marrying for what we, in our sense perception, call love. And the fact that I told you that is something that I wouldn't necessarily do personally, is just marry somebody just because I love them from a sense perception. I didn't use that phrasing when I said it to you, but that's exactly what I meant. And even when I use the phrase sense perception now, I'm talking about how I feel, because how I feel, I've learned, it's not something that is too stable. It's not always reliable,
Right.
and it's not always telling me the truth. It skews vision. It skews
Right.
my mind, my thinking, my psychology is messed up because now I'm being dominated and led by exactly, oh, I like you now. You know what I'm saying? But you might do something that challenge my ability to like you. And when I don't like you, I don't know what to do with the rest of that. And oftentimes we invest so much, and I'm using that phrasing intentionally. We invest so much into how we feel at any one time or moment with a person. You done spent your money, your time, your energy, your emotions. You've invested a lot of yourself into, or your ideal of yourself into somebody else, and you've included them. And to undo that is a work. I mean, it's just about like experiencing a type of death to undo that after I've done that. And that's how potent emotions are to the whole interpretation of, look, I love you. No, I don't love you. I'm in love with you. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to emphasize that it's not that I don't believe that the ultimate goal is not to love you or be in love with you, rather, but I don't want that to be the platform on which I start, because I'm not thinking clear,
Right.
at all.
Is it at all possible for that to be a platform that you start on?
Anything's possible, but you would have to be. I'm gonna put it in this terminology. You would have to be morally mature enough for it to be something that is legit. Something, because and when I use the phrase morally mature, simply because of what the whole ideal of love is about. Is remember, I said, I think in the last segment, that love is a psychology more than it is an emotion. Most people define love by how they feel, and again, once you do that, You've skewed the whole concept of love as an idea. So for it to be an ideal, it must be a psychology.
Now that's different, because coming up in the church and hearing the church talk about love, they talk about the different types of love, eros, philia, and all of that stuff, right? And then on top of everything else, and you're saying love is a psychology, and most people I've heard was that God is love. They try to say that God is love. So how do you connect those?
That's too easy, and you really, again, you have this knack for jumping ahead of us. No, but it's a great thing. When you mentioned eros, I was going to go there today as well. In philia, and what else? No. The ones you mentioned, I got it right here. Affection. You got to understand, affection, eros, and philia. Those are all sense love. That means that everything about those are allocated and allegoric.
Even philia, the friendship.
Yes, love? It's all sense. It's It's all what I sense, all what I feel. They're just this. The distinction is in dimension, dynamics, and that's predicated on opinion.
And the word that comes to mind again, which we talked about before, is affection. Okay,
definitely. Yeah. And so that's what's dangerous about saying, look, man, I really like that girl, or she's saying I really feel something I'm attracted by how they make me feel, or I feel when I'm with them. I like things about them. But then if everything you getting ready to do, which means remember, because when it is, even whether it is emotion or whether it is the real thing, whether it's legit or not, love without question is an investment on any level at all. Love is an investment.
I guess the most major investment then, right? Because everybody wants to be loved.
Well, then see, you just changed the subject, because that's a whole different subject. Everybody wants to be loved, but the whole point I believe that we're really diving into is not whether or not everybody wants to be loved. We'll get to that. But really what we want to do is having an ability to love, because the whole premise of the relationship is going to be based on my ability to love. You know what I'm saying? So the whole premise of my ability to love is sometimes I think I'm ready. I think I can, or I think that I am in love. And the truth is, I just have really strong feelings for you.
And most of the time when people say they're in love, what does that mean? Like,
again, from the human perspective, from the sense perspective, the five senses, it depends on how how you're approaching it. Listen, I have affection for you. That means that I like you. It could mean I like you. But if I'm talking about eros, it means that I like the way we sex each other. You know what I mean? Or if it's just a friendship, we have something in common. And so I like what we have in common. I like what you want to do with yourself. So I want to attach myself to those elements of you.
But those things can change.
Of course.
And that's why it's dangerous.
They're more than likely, likely will, because what you haven't done, I haven't invited you, or you haven't been included in my process. See, I'm a human being in my life structure, in the things that I'm going through, and the things that my doubts, my fears. Remember, we talked last time about my disabilities. What you are attracted to is my abilities. You're attracted to what your projection of me is. In other words, what your ideal of me is, that's what you're attracted to.
Now I'm really going to try to contain this and stay in context with what we're saying, because this is such a deep, broad subject, because it affects every area in our lives, because people talking about coming together and spending the rest of their lives together, you know what I mean? And then you have the element of those people who maybe have a bit of history behind them and who haven't been healed from past relationships. Now, I don't want to go too far into it, because I like where you at right now. I'm gonna kind of let you steer this, steer it where you wanted to go, because you got some really, really powerful things to say. You know what I mean? I had to listen to the both of those other episodes like a couple of times. You know what I mean? And I have some questions that people have brought to mind or whatever. But I like where you're going with this, though.
Right. So again, I want to go back to the fact that a mature person, when you talked about approaching the whole relationship predicated on love or the ideal of love, a mature person is a person that understands the requirements to love. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And they're more than likely self-imposed. I'm not going to rebel against all that it means to love. Because being a lover, or knowing that that's part of my construct, is my ability to love, then that means that I'm getting ready to loose that with no inhibition. I'm not going to hold back. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be schizophrenic with it. I'm just going to be absolute, because that's one of the characteristics of love. It is absolute. It is total. It is full. One of the things that I wanted to get into was it's authentic. And that's one of the things that we want when someone approaches us with the possibility of being, attempting love, is that we look for the authenticity of the other person. But what we are ill prepared to do is to be authentic ourselves. See, before we give ourselves, we want to make sure the other person is true. Right. We want to make sure the other person is honest, sincere, all the things. And so we're reluctant to give of ourselves until we know that the one that we want to give ourselves to is authentic. Love jumps in, period. Even if it's affection, even if we just
wait. Okay, wait, because we gotta start where it starts, right? And because what you just said was so full, I want to unpack it a little bit, right? Because the bottom line is, I personally, when it comes to the initial meeting of someone, right, that has the potential to turn into that state of love. When you meet someone, because you just said everybody wants to, you gotta find out if that person is authentic with what they're presenting to you as that interest or whatever it is. And it all starts at the beginning when you initially meet that person. So enter in dating, the dating scene. So I had conversations after conversations with different people about the subject of dating, because we all got to meet that person that we are attempting to, when we're looking for that love, that partner, you got to meet them. And so in this era, in this culture, the dating definition of dating is an issue that we have to talk about, because normally in this culture, because of media and everything and movies and everything, and the norm for people is when you're dating, that usually ends up including sex. And that part I found can totally mess up your whole thought process, or derail the sanctity of it, the authenticity of it, because you get into the feeling stuff or whatever. Right, and what if it makes you feel good?
Even the whole ideal of the way that you structured that, even the whole ideal of authenticity can be questioned, simply because we can be authentically lustful. We could be authentically, and we can have a mutual understanding that we're not going to get serious, but we can have sex.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can do it. So.
But that's misleading, though.
No, right? not if I'm telling you, look, this is what this is about. You know what I mean? This is what this is about. I want to have this kind of relationship, but I don't want to help you pay bills yet. I don't want to help you raise your kids yet.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm just in it from this perspective. They call it friends with benefits. At least they used to. I'm old, so you know what I mean.
yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
that's still in play.
No, that's still in play.
You know what I mean? And then in our culture, remember, because everything is coming out of identity and how you feel and what you think about yourself. So the whole ideal of authenticity comes from that by itself, because it's real to me. You know what I mean? And I'm real. Look, I'm not committing to you. Even when it comes to friendships, you have to be careful, because sometimes somebody else's ideal of what you should be as a friend is different than yours, again, because of where they're getting their identity, where they're getting because look, I want you to be my friend because you know what I mean? And for whatever that because is, that's why I want you to be my friend. But if we mutually come into an agreement, then we can establish what's authentic. First, let's communicate about what is expected in, watch this, in the affection. Because eventually you might not have feelings for me, but I might begin to develop feelings. And my feelings are going to initiate themselves through having affection. Watch this. This is almost putting a puzzle together. So if there's anything that's going to happen at all, it's going to be initiated through having affection. I feel something. I feel something. I'm really emphasizing that because a lot of people make decisions predicated on that by itself. I feel I'm attracted to you. Listen to my words.
Right.
I'm attracted to you. And you know, I don't understand it all right now. I just know that I'm attracted to you, and I just like talking to you. And this is how you make me feel when we're talking, and I like that. So now I have affection for you, and so then I want to move from affection to deciding you're my friend. Now, and then if it's possible, then I want to move into eros, which is, that's become physical. Let's become physical with what's going on. You get what I'm saying? And so that process, which is crazy, dude. That process is crazy. So, and this is a word that I want to introduce to it. This is a word that I want to introduce to everything. Watch this, because on my way over here, there was I can't even see that. This is a word that I want to introduce to, and that word is this. That word is this right there. That word is this right here. Everything comes to a junction. You know what I'm saying? So everything comes to a junction. No.
We ain't been in school in a long time. You're going to have to break that.
Yeah. So everything comes to a junction. Connection is a junction point.
Okay, connection.
Exactly. So that's what connection is. It's a junction. It's where everything meets at one place or another. So now if I'm going to have any relationship with you at all, it's got to come to sooner or later to a junction where everything comes together. Now watch this. Now I want us to leave room for the things that you said, right? What I've learned through study, through research, what I've learned just through my life experiences alone is that I started watching my psychology. I started watching because I realized that I'm no longer in a realm where I'm looking at things predicated on right or wrong. I'm looking at things, and especially from a selfish perspective. Most people think in terms of justice. You know what I mean? Most people think in terms of justice. Most people think in terms of wisdom. Most people think in terms of courage. Most people think in terms of temperance. So if my mind is in any one of those four categories, you know what I'm saying? And it skews the foundation for the definition of love.
Okay. If your mind is in any one of those four.
Four categories: justice, wisdom, courage, or temperance. Those are social ideals. Socials, that's a social psychology where now we're not even looking for right or wrong. I want to look at you and see, oh, Rick, man, you're a man full of courage, or you're a man full of wisdom, or you're a man full of, you know what I mean? Because that's what I'm saying. That whole ideal of affection is predicated on whether or not, you know what I mean, you can demonstrate any one of those attributes. See, those are attributes. But we're going to go there, dude. We're going to get some places that, you know, I just got to slow down long enough, you know, to weave this thing into place. So we're going to go there. And most people don't even understand that the psychology of the time that we're living in. You know what I'm saying? So what you're calling love is really not love. You're looking for justice.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean, though? You're looking for justice.
I'm going to generalize the definition because it can take on many shapes, forms, and fashions. But if I stole your phone and we go to court, what would you like?
Get my phone back.
Exactly. So now, if that's your frame of mind, and listen to me, if that's your frame of mind, then you're not in the forefront of your mind thinking about how to approach this through love. Because love suffers long.
How to approach getting my phone back through love?
Love endures all things.
Okay.
What I'm getting at is how being done wrong alters you, and you want revenge. Right. This is what I'm trying to say. So now, if I'm all in my feelings and you great, you wonderful, and I feel so good, and I'm attracted to you, and then lastly, I know I run into your disability, and like I said in the last segment, now I gotta wipe your nose, wipe your butt, and feed you. That ain't justice to me. I didn't sign up for this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't signed up for this. And then that skews wisdom. And wisdom is not mere knowledge. Most people are crediting knowledge or having information with wisdom.
Right.
And so you think because you read a book, you know something. You know what I mean? You think because you read a book that now it's matriculated into your nature, into your being, simply because you have a logical perspective on something.
Or you done studied the gurus, and they done told you what love is and all this stuff. So now you got it.
Exactly. Now I understand. No, I messed up before. You know, and now I see my mistakes. Yeah. But until that is tried, I'm talking from two different perspectives right now, and especially I'm talking from a lot of other dynamics in what I'm saying. But until love must be tried in order for it to be validated.
Okay, let's go back to maturity, because you said that authenticity, to validate someone's authenticity, that's going to take time, right? So that's why I brought up the issue of the dating. I mean, because even what you just said, like most people come to a new relationship, especially after they've been in one, and if they've been hurt, if they've been hurt at all in any past relationships, right? Most people come to that relationship with that mindset that you just.
But I don't think necessarily that to validate somebody authenticity, it doesn't necessarily have to take time. All I need to see in you is what I think you should be. And all you need to do is know and discern and play the game and say, you know what I mean? She wants this. And because you know the game, dude, as guys. You know what I mean? We see what a woman like, or if she got kids, we play with their little kids for a minute.
Yeah.
It don't want
do all the things that's necessary.
And that in her mind authenticates you as a eligible person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So that brings up a problem, though. What about a guy? Okay, because I'm in a position now where I've been living an abstinent life. So my definition of dating is totally different, right? So I would think that when I would meet a woman, that would have some validity or weight to it. You know, the fact that, look, you know, I could be walking out here doing it and, you know, blowing the back out and what all of that kind of stuff to talk in the
Secular.
the secular vernacular. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? I'm living abstinent, and not only am I living abstinent, I'm very careful with how I approach the situation of a new interest or whatever. Now, right? You would think that that's what the average woman wants, and we talking about the level of maturity here that we're dealing with. So dating now, and when you're talking about time, spending the time to get to know the person, to see, you said it doesn't have to take a lot of time, right? But in today's, I would say at least 80%. I'm gonna be fair and give it, you know, the benefit of the doubt. Most women, bringing them back in the word of justice, are coming into a relationship and men, from more so women than men, I believe, and I could be wrong, are coming into or entering into relationships with a great deal of past pain and hurt. You know what I mean? And having not dealt with that, men as well, you know, having not dealt with that, how do you get to that point where, you know, your maturity is even ready for, you know what I mean? Because one person, like you said, can have more feelings than the other person. One person can have start having feelings rather than the other person, or it could be vice versa, or both at the same time. But usually that's how it goes.
Right, but it's all about, to be honest with you.
Did I take that far away from?
It doesn't matter. We're gonna make sense out of it all.
Oh, okay.
Most people have some kind of ideal of what's right or wrong, or what they need in their life. You know what I'm saying? Most people have some kind of perspective on it. Mm-hmm. And so it is from that ideal that they begin to pursue, mm-hmm. or look, or have, you know, or engage. And so the only problem with that is that I wrote something down that when it comes to love, there can be a intellectual problem. And the intellectual problem is the emotion. So your emotion is messing with the whole ideal. And that's what I'm saying. It's not about reading a book. It's not even about listening to us talk about it. If you are not a master of your own emotions, then you are not healthy. You are not ready.
That's it right there.
To love, because your emotions are going to go through a whole bunch of things. Many splendid things will you encounter attempting love. And so again, this might sound crazy, and I know it do, but I'm not interested in whether or not the person is loving me. I'm interested in whether or not I am loving the person.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to go through if I do love right. And I have I'm going to go through because I'm going to encounter their handicaps,
right,
their disabilities.
Meaning it's going to be painful.
It's going to be emotionally painful, psychologically challenging. It's going to be culturally adversity. There's going to be human, as far as family members. There's going to be so many conditions that come against your attempt to stick to it according to your ideal. Guess what? Your ideal of yourself, not your ideal of the other person. Get what I'm teaching? Your ideal of yourself. That's the thing right there. Mm-hmm. Your ideal of yourself. So, man, this is what I'm trying to get across. Like, when we come back to it, we have to get into the whole idea of vulnerability.
Okay.
Okay, because what we did was talk about the five senses. What we did was talk about, the emotional construct of it, the social construct of it, the idea that through identity of yourself. And now we have to get a little bit deeper, because if you're not rational, it's because you're overtaken in your emotions. That means that you're not rational. You're forgetting you. Okay, so watch how we do this, Rick. We want to talk about, we have to include vulnerability, but we have to construct vulnerability. Vulnerability has everything to do with the one who's attempting to love. You have to understand that, again, there's a psychology perspective to this. You have to have, and when I use the phrase psychology, there's a rationality that go along with what's being said. There's a rationality. If you're going to love anybody, and I don't just mean husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, but if you're going to love, period, as a human being, then there has to be a rationality that you identify with. You can't just go into it with how you feel about each individual. You have to have your whole purpose for being has to be around your identity as someone who understands what love is and accepts it as an assignment. See, as a human being, I accept loving as an assignment. It's just,
you heard them right now.
It's just part.
Who's assigning?
Who's
doing
assigning?
the
one who I identify with. The whole construct of love
has to go back to identification.
And you have to remember, what I identify with comes out of my culture, comes out of my social construct, comes as much as my biology and my genetics, and I mean that psychologically, emotionally, everything that makes me everything that I am, or everything I thought I am, think about myself, or everything that I aspire to be, is going to come out of a culture, it's going to come out of a community, it's going to come out of somewhere.
And that's why I think that, especially if you're older and if you're single and you're trying to enter into this type of union, you're going to have to take the time, because you don't know where a person has come from. You don't know what their psychological makeup is, right? I mean, it doesn't take time. I don't mean...
loving, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but what I'm loving is that you're going back, and I on purpose disconnected it to a man and woman's relationship.
Okay, gotcha.
Because if you don't, you miss the whole point. You as an entity have to see yourself in identity as someone who was designed to love.
Now, how does that happen?
How, again, it happens through identity. Where is your identity placed? Where is your whole ideal of yourself comes from? Why? Who can make you feel less than a person? Who can make you feel less than your ideal of yourself?
Okay. I get that. So what I really wanted to say, so let's say you're intact, your identity is intact, coming from a love perspective. Look, I'm giving it the whole nine. Does that mean? Does that mean you don't have to be as serious about how you authenticate the person that you're endeavoring to spend the rest of your life? Okay, all right, because
you are missing it.
I keep relegating to the male female.
And know why I resist that? I resist that because you ain't right yet. And that's the point. You not right. And this is my point. You want to make sure the person is everything that you think they need to be before you can love them and invest yourself in them. And you're missing the whole
don't have nothing to do
idea.
with it.
But exactly. It's not that it doesn't have anything to do with it. It cannot be the principal thing.
Okay.
I must be able to love humanity. I must be able to love people. I must understand what it means to love a person, because It's not just about the penis in the vagina. It's not just about how big her butt is and how shapely she is and all this other kind of stuff and his swag. It's not about that. It's about a human being who's got this facade as a defense mechanism within them. And when all of what they presented themselves as start dissipating, and I'm starting to see the responsibility that is getting ready to come with this person who's not what they presented themselves as, I got to be able to deal with the anger, the disappointment, feeling tricked. You know what I mean? All the things. They didn't have all that money. They was spending all this money acting like they was whining and dining me. Come to find out they mortgage. They ain't even got a mortgage. We're gonna make it. They living with their cousin and all this other kind of stuff. They ain't even got a car, this, that, and the other thing. But whenever they came up, they was this person.
Okay, so let's focus.
They mama paid they cell phone bill.
Right. So I ain't right. Okay, let's put it in perspective. I'm not right because I don't have the right understanding or concept of love. Where do I get that from? From
your culture, from your environment. There's no way around it.
But what if my culture and my environment is not supplying me with that?
Listen, you asked me, where do you get it from? You have
ultimately the right type
so
of love.
Guess
where
what?
do I get that from?
This is why I'm saying that. You want me to say God. I'm not going to say God. I'm not going to say God. You try objection, Your Honor, leading the witness.
You picked up on that.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say God because you have to understand the construct that God have left for humanity comes out of the culture. Wow. And so God is not going to overthrow what he has as a construct in order to demonstrate anything. That's why it was important for Christ to come into the construct.
So what if your culture is devoid of the type of love? It's
right.
Like, you know what I mean? So
right.
What about
that? So if where you are, how you was raised, how you do, you have to understand. There's no way in the world that you're not going to be able to experience love in some form, shape, or fashion, because again, God is still here. God is still alive. You know what I mean?
You had to resort to God.
No, because you did that, John. But you know what I'm saying? The whole idea in humanity, and to be doubtful and be fearful and to be pessimistic and all these things means that I have no sense of God. And if that be the case, I'm going to know that if I'm attempting to love you.
True.
And so, but I don't run from you because you have no sense of God. This is why I'm going the way that I'm going and not just jumping into a man and female relationship first.
Right,
because I'm more concerned about you. Because you the one dude talking about you gonna be with me, we gonna do this thing forever. Right. And you the one chick talking about, you know what I mean, I ain't gonna never leave you and forsake you. And you know what I mean? And you said all that junk because you had affection for me. You liked the way I sexed you. We were good friends when we started. And now all of a sudden that's dissipating and you have no vision of that because now I gotta pay your cell phone bill. You know what I mean? Your mama was paying it. You know what I mean? I gotta be your mama. Right. You got daddy issues.
Or you coming and live in my house now when you was living with your mama now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? All of that plays a factor.
Now, man,
you're not
house,
mature.
We don't leave clothes on the floor. Right. In my house, we don't leave dishes in the sink. You know what I mean? We clean. Man, you peeing all over the toilet seat. You get what I'm saying? You don't never put the toilet seat down. You know what I'm saying? See, all these things now become irritating and provocations to act outside of affection, act outside. Now I don't even want to have sex with you. I don't feel. Come on, babe, let's get busy. I don't feel
that's
like
it. That's a powerful person that can really love. That's a person
like
really love. Or is it a mature?
And that's all. Both of those words are right on the money, because I don't even look at power from the same perspective. I'm not and I got to be careful because my interpretations are kind of probably different. But when you use that word power, my whole ideal definition of power is twofold. My first definition of power is knowledge. The second definition I have and understanding, but within that whole trinity, the greatest of these for me is strength. When I'm actually able to express strength of my knowledge and strength of my logic. If I can express those things, I'm good. You know what I mean? But it's when I feel weak. And no matter how much I know and how much I understand, you know what I'm saying? And I still, man, I don't like you. You know what I mean? I can't say, I don't want you to touch me. I don't want you to, I don't even want to be around. I'm gonna work overtime.
Yeah, so you said, and there were 4 things usually that we work in our senses.
Injustice, wisdom.
You said injustice?
No, justice.
Justice.
Wisdom, courage, and temperance. So now, and you have to understand, these are all predicated on human senses. That means that I feel something for you, we friends, and we having sex. There's some biological connection that we have that keeps me coming back. I like that feeling. I like that thing you do. And I feel when you do that, you meeting all my criteria, all my bullet points you're meeting.
Checking off the box.
Exactly.
I done had to check off.
See?
I done been in the box.
But then when it
several times,
when it comes to you, when they realize your needs, or when they, and it's not even your wants. It's just that when your need, and that's why we run out of time.
And I'm going to try to stop reverting from,
No, keep going.
Relegating to the male-female relationship, but that's what I'm kind of like.
But keep going. I don't mind it.
Because you got females, right, that are in relationships and they feel like they're not getting any love from
and you got to be careful with that. You know why? Because what I find to be true, when their love is not where it's supposed to be, they then become a victim. They have a victim's mentality.
Oh, man, that is so prevalent.
Exactly. So they never came from the construct of love. They came from the construct of affection. They came from the whole friendship thing, or, now you my friend, and I want to make you my best friend, and we're going to do this together, and I see us doing this and that. You want to be married on predicated, you know what I mean? On
romance,
that,
you want to be romantic and all that.
5 cents ideal of it. And then the justice part is you feel like I'm not just to you.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You ain't right. You ain't this and that. And that's what I'm telling you. I'm going back to this. So we have to begin to build on the ideal of love predicated in identity, predicated on culture, predicated on social construct. So there's a twofold dimensional dynamic.
This is like, that's too much. You know what I mean? People going to have to get a pad and stuff and really study this if they're really interested and listen to this over again. But
what I really want them to do, if more than anything else, I think it'll be easier if you admit to yourself, I did that. I made that mistake. I see that point.
Yeah.
See, just grab a point and run with the point. And everything else will come.
Wow. Yeah.
Just grab a point. Wherever in the conversation we're having right now, you see yourself or you've seen your situation. Because again, a lot of times we might not be ready to admit it was us.
Right.
Because you're still a victim.
And you said that in the first episode.
Exactly. You're still a victim. You get what I'm saying? So, and as long as you are the victim, you never loved.
As long as you're the victim, you have never really truly loved.
You never was strong enough to love. You never felt powerful enough to love. You only expressed what you thought love would look like and would feel like so that you can manipulate. And a lot of times people use the affection as strength to manipulate.
And if you're holding back anything.
Wait. Okay. A lot of people use the strength of affection to manipulate because they want love. They want the thing that they say they've been giving you. And so in order to get that from you, this is what I'm going to perpetrate within my own self that I am to you.
And they use the affection.
Exactly. As validation.
How? Break that.
Because again, you have to understand, affection is how I feel toward you. And so if I feel it's real, anything I feel is real.
Yeah.
How you gonna tell me I don't love you? And then check this out. If you don't know how I feel,
wow.
How you gonna tell me I don't love you? You don't know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And so, now you're revealing to me your definition of what love is.
So,
and if you trace this all the way back, even in these last two conversations we're having right now, if you trace this all the way back, I told you that love operates through a psychology, and the psychology predicated and woven into an identity. And you have to see yourself from the perspective of not just the ability to love, but see yourself as a lover. That's why I'm here.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, in order to be loved, you have to be vulnerable, right? In order to love, you have to kind of be invincible. You have to have a mentality of giving, regardless of whether you get
right. But let's not go there yet.
Okay.
All right. Let's not.
We got a little over 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So
now I gotta.
I told you this. I told you this was going. It's going to be an ongoing conversation.
Right. So just stop with vulnerability, because let's put some blocks in place for it.
Because that's normally what people don't want to be after they've been hurt
But that's why I'm saying let's stop right there.
Okay.
And let's start talking about it. Let's start talking about love, by any other name.
That brings me to the question that I wanted to bring
love, up. I'm going to let you. But love by any other name is vulnerability.
Love by any other name is vulnerability. And that's what people say they want love. But you have, see, that's pretty deep right there where you just went there, man, because
no,
in order to be loved, you have to be vulnerable, right?
Say that again?
In order to allow yourself to be loved, you have to be vulnerable.
No? Listen, no. I don't need your permission to love you. I don't care what stipulations you put in play.
So where does vulnerability
Vulnerability is on the person who's attempting to love.
Okay.
That's why I'm trying to get to. You have to understand that the requirement of love is vulnerability. You cannot get it. You cannot do it. You could give me affection
all day.
You could give me sex, and we can laugh and talk and call ourselves friends. But if you're going to love me, you have to understand, don't wait for somebody to give you permission. That's the whole construct. Watch this. Most people who ask for love don't ask for it in a loving way.
Okay.
Most people who are asking for love normally are mean, normally are hateful, normally are guarded, normally are, they're fearful. And so instead of telling you I'm going through all these things, I'm going to cuss you out, or I'm going to push you away. I'm going to reject you. But the truth is, I'm really asking you for love. I'm telling you to leave, but I don't really want you to. I'm telling you to leave to see if you really love me, because if you really love me, you would have stayed.
Right.
You would have tried harder. You would have done more. So what was the question, or what was the statement you wanted?
It was like, you making the connection. You said something in the last episode. You said something about it takes the connection between faith and love. Faith and love.
Right. So now,
but I don't want to get off of what you just said, because I know
because it's right in the line with what I just said. We're going right there. Mm-hmm. So watch this. So now I'm vulnerable, mm-hmm. which means this. If this is what most people don't understand, or they have an intellectual idea of it. I'm vulnerable, which means this. I'm putting myself in a position to be hurt. Mm-hmm. I understand that being hurt, being rejected, being lied on, being misunderstood, being abused is always possible. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to, because I'm attempting to love, I'm not going to put myself in a place where I'm paranoid about being hurt and abused and loved. You know what I mean? Because when I attempt to love, rather, because if I put myself in a place where he might cheat on me, mm-hmm. they might hurt me, then I will be schizophrenic in my own personality relative to loving. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so, even in what I just said, requires a whole bunch of conversation. Mm. You know what I mean? Between, like, if me and you was exploring it deeper, even what I'm saying requires a whole bunch of conversation. Because, man, you really, it's like you really have to have courage.
There you go. You went back to one of the four.
Mm-hmm. You really have to have courage. And somebody who's operating courage will do it in the face of fear, in the face of hurt, in the face of pain. That's why I don't need you.
But don't you have to have a certain level of discernment as well to be able to even see past all of the facade and all of the stuff that person
I don't care about that right now. You got to get it. What I'm trying to do is build the construct of the one who's attempting it. Mm-hmm. So I don't care about, again, I don't need your permission to love you.
Boom.
I just need to be willing to.
Right. And willing to be vulnerable.
But if I'm going to love you, I'm going to be.
Right.
That's why I don't need your permission.
Because there's a
the
chance
power is mine. It ain't yours.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to making that commitment, though, you doing that solely off of you taking the risk that that love may not ever be reciprocated.
Definitely.
Okay. That's why that's where people stop at that point. That's where people stop and say, wait a minute, hold up. I don't know.
And I can hear somebody in my head saying, yeah, I'm supposed to just let them hurt me. Right. I'm supposed to just let them run me over, mm-hmm. blah, blah,
and we're not talking about physical abuse, because
we talking about it from whatever perspective that's in that person's mind who's been through those experiences. Mm. You have to understand something. That's how I know you don't have the concept down right. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not even talking on those levels. I'm just telling you that if you've ever been hit, if you've ever been cussed out, if you've ever been yelled at,
cheated on,
you know what I'm saying? It makes you schizophrenic. It makes you paranoid, mm-hmm. because and you remember what it was like to go through any one of those phases, mm-hmm. and so now you say, if it looked that way,
mm-hmm. right? That's normally the case, though.
And that's what
between most relationships, that's normally the case. How do you get past that?
Right. So guess what? We only have a few minutes, so we might
got about 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh.
So guess what? Mm-hmm. So now how love operates, and we're not going to finish this, I can tell you that. How love is designed to operate is not from the four perspectives of justice, in all those other things.
Can you name them? Justice?
Yep, justice, wisdom, courage, and temperance. Mm-hmm. How love is designed, and I mean this from the 5 sense perspective.
Right, okay.
Okay, I mean this from the human perspective, mm-hmm. not from the spiritual perspective and not from any other perspective. But these 3 things that I'm getting ready to tell you are so diverse and so versatile that they move in the 4 perspectives of human perspective, and they also move from the 3 perspective of human nature, which is affection, friendship, and eros, which is sexual biological love. Mm-hmm. These three things come from the one who originated what the definition of love really is, and that is God Himself. So you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I think so.
So now that is this: faith, hope, and then love. Now, from these perspectives, faith is the substance of hope.
Okay.
So now, if we had the time, we would have to then talk about faith from the perspective of hope. And then if we had time after that, we would have to talk about faith from the perspective of hope and then the manifestation of love. So without faith and without hope, I am not going to be able to express love. Because what happens is faith is a substantiation. The mechanisms of faith substantiates and it justifies and it also causes me to use wisdom, because I'm not just going to blindly go into this without not understanding you, understanding myself. Because there's some things I'm not capable of. Mm-hmm. There's some things that I'm not ready for yet. I'm not mature and I haven't come to those places within my own nature and character, because I'm still developing myself in identity to the place where I can be strengthened in all these other areas. So I got to go back to faith. Rick, you looking at me kind of, you looking at me strange. Yeah. So I got to go back. I got to go back. Because the root of it all is in my identity and in my culture. And I've developed through my experiences in my identity. Through my culture, I've developed my experiences. And my experiences, my identity through who I'm connected to in my culture. So my mama, my daddy, my brothers, my aunts, my uncles, my cousin. So I really am carrying deep, dark secrets in my own self. Anywhere within myself, I haven't really had those experiences of unconditional, because we haven't gotten into that whole concept of love. So when I talk about it from the three perspectives of faith, hope, and love, the love dimension or dynamic is always unconditional. And in and of itself has to be something I'm willing to give another person.
Most people don't even understand that concept of unconditional.
Rick, we just said that when we first started.
I know.
2 or 3 segments ago.
I know. That's the whole bottom line we get into. Like most of us, when you talk about culture, right, and you growing up in a culture, that shapes your whole identity. And so that's what my point is. Most people grow up in a culture that has no idea of what unconditional love is.
Now we on the same page. That's the backdrop to getting into a relationship. That's the backdrop to getting into friendship. When you want anything you want to deepen, anything you want deeper, anything you want to grow fruit from, this what we're talking about right now.
Anything you want to flourish.
Exactly.
Right,
this is the backdrop to it. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen because you want it.
So in order for you to be loved, you have to love, because I can't give what I don't have. You know what I mean?
You can't give what you don't, and you don't have it. I'll put it this way. You don't have it because you are rejecting it in understanding. Because if you understand it's going to be required of you, it's the same concept of freedom. Most people don't know that there's more bondage and freedom than there is in not being free. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because freedom causes you to be accountable for your own choices and your own actions.
Right. And you have to protect it. And that's
my whole point with talking about love. When you're getting ready to love, it causes you to walk in accountability to what it means to do it. You know what I'm saying?
So there's that understanding
I've been saying this, the psychology of it. And the enemy to that can be your emotions.
Boom.
You know what I mean?
And that normally is the enemy.
Exactly.
Which is why people don't experience love, and it's
or cannot sustain it. They can attempt it, and they could actually be starting to become successful. And this is my last point: is that what you have to understand how important hope is, because hope is the sustainer of it.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there. Got about 35 seconds left.
Go ahead.
But we got to talk about this again. Of course, we've spent an hour on this again. And so, guys, listen, if you want to if this was good, make sure you hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you'll know when we post again. I'm trying to post something at least once every Monday if I can get Pastor Allen back in. Here on the Good Man Show, I'm going to be posting something at least once every Monday, but I'm going to try to get Pastor Allen back in so we can continue this conversation and talk about faith, hope, and love in the next segment and what it has to do with vulnerability in the context of the culture.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna rap about that. Thanks, Pastor Allen, for coming out again. Appreciate it. And I'm sure we're gonna get a lot. And we're gonna try to have some phone calls. Maybe we'll try to do after we have maybe two more sessions. We'll probably try to do a Zoom where we can get some questions in and have people ask. We'll do that at your discretion.
And I want to tell the audience, Rick, tell them go out and like somebody.
That's probably all we're capable of doing right now is liking. All right, y'all. Tune in next time. This is the Good Man Show with your host, Mr. Rick. Peace.